Hello lovelies and welcome back to my channel. Today we are discussing a book I recently read. Today on the chopping block, Stay by Elle and Sarina Bowen. I believe that's how her name's pronounced. I've never came across her before. But yeah, Sarina Bowen. I hope I'm saying it correctly. But anyway, we are going to be discussing this book and some of its crimes, in my opinion, that it has committed. You're on trial today. Normally I don't do this for books, but when books are, I don't want to say bad, but when books are of a certain quality, I like to put them on trial because sometimes they need to be dissected. First off, I do want to say, I did appreciate this read and I did enjoy reading it. Was it the best thing I've ever read? No, not by a long shot. Was it unique in a sense? Yes, because it was two divorcees who were exploring relationships after their divorce, after being in certain situationships with their ex-partners, and like trying to navigate that and how to be someone's partner again. I did really like that, and I think I'm going to try and find more romance novels similar to that, with a more emotional intelligence and depth than this book. Did it have a dog? Yes, and that is one of its redeeming qualities, except from the disservice it did to the dog, okay? But let's get into the book. General overview of plot. We have Hayley, who is in charge of a tech company, which is called Finch, where basically people can pay an hourly rate where they can text Finch into getting them to order stuff, book appointments, get things sorted for them. Okay, she is co-owner with her ex-husband, who is her best friend. It's very important that I emphasize the best friend thing, because by the resolution of the book, it's like, we were never meant to be lovers. We were meant to be best friends. And I would have loved if this book dived into their relationship a bit more. Ultimately, yes, it was her and Matt's relationship. But we get to see so much of Matt and his ex-wife's relationship and dynamic. And it changed because of their shared children. I would have loved to see more of Hayley and Jackson's development into actually we were meant to be friends, we never were meant to be together. This makes so much sense for us. I would have liked to see actual progress in that situation instead of it just being thrown in at the end. Then we have Matt uses Finch, and this is how they start gaining connection. The amount of HR violations in this book is insane, but Matt is a hockey player, Hayley is a big hockey fan, and they start kindling a relationship through text because he's like, oh, hi, hottie, because her initials are H-E-T. No, H-T-E. And he's like, yeah, no. And the person who's on the image cover of Finch is really, really hot. And he thinks it's her, which it is her, but like he doesn't know it's actually her. But anyway, the way they actually first meet is that he needs someone to walk his dog. And it's like, the last one went through my stuff. The last dog sitter that I had went through my stuff. Help, please. And she's like, oh my God. We recommended and set up that appointment. So she's like, yeah, okay, sending someone out, which is her, okay? And he's like, he has security footage around his house because obviously it's a famous celebrity. And then he says, oh, wait, it's her. She's kind of cute. And they keep doing it until they eventually meet. And the way they eventually meet is him going, hey, I need gluten-free waffle mix for my kids. Please bring it. And him like, tell the doorman. And then he tells the doorman, no, make her come up. And he's like, sorry, it's a perishable. You need to come up. And she's like freaking out because he's like, a big celebrity. Anyway, you get their relationship. I actually did like their relationship and the development of their relationship and how they're both very scared to actually put a label on their relationship because of what they went through with their exes and not knowing if it's quite the right thing for them and being like apprehensive and then slowly realize, oh wait, no, this person's really important for me and having little freakouts. I did really like that. There was very little hockey actual for how big of a hockey fan and for the fact that this is the WAG series and that he is a hockey player. There is actually very, very little hockey content in this book. I think there's 2 actual times they go to the games. We meet the WAGs probably 2 or 3 times in this book. And then we also have 1 hockey charity session in it, which ends up in a hospital trip with his young children. Okay? And for a hockey romance book, very little hockey. And I'm pointing this out because Hayley is a super fan hockey player, okay? It's constantly referred to in the book, and a lot of bits when she's talking about hockey, you can tell she's a dedicated fan. So the lack of actual hockey content in the book is actually quite strange. We only ever see Matt traveling back and forth from hockey games, or Matt's away at a hockey game. We never actually get to see the hockey content of it, which I found very peculiar because normally with hockey romance books, you actually see a lot more to do with the ring, with the ice, with the hockey. So it was a nice break. But in discussion of characters, I found Matt was the most bearable character in this book for me, which is unique. Normally, the male leads aren't my favourite people, but Matt was. And I think this is because of how much of a disservice the other characters got. And you might be like, what do you mean, Rosie? There's only 2 main characters, and that I say no. The dog, okay? If there is a dog in a book, normally the dog is my favourite character. Do you know why the dog isn't my favourite character in this book? Because it's used as a plot narrative, okay? I swear to God. They use it in the first couple of chapters to get them to have their meet cute, like, so they can establish a physical relationship. And then the dog disappears into thin air, basically. Like, the amount of lacking of chapters the dog's in, honestly, I'm just like, they're around his house right now. Where's the dog? Like, the amount of times that the dog is actually not there and they're around Matt's house, or it's just like, no, Matt came back early and they're keeping the dog at the dog ranch. I'm like, no, like, I am a dog owner, okay? My parents own dogs, and whenever I go back home, the first person I say hi to is the dogs, okay? I don't care. And I'll be like, where's the dogs? If my parents are back from holiday, the first thing they do, the morning they get back, because, like, sometimes we get back really, really late in the evening, the first thing they do is at 7 o'clock in the morning, they go get the dogs, okay? This person is not a dog person, okay? Because why are you telling me that you're willingly putting your dog in a different place for longer so you can have, like, what, an hour of what? So you can spend more time with your girlfriend, who apparently loves the dog? No, you'd go get the dog. But this is just my personal opinion, okay? And on topics of Hayley. I love Hayley. I love that she's a girl boss. I love that she's independent and she's trying to find herself after her divorce, and that she is a go-getter and she fights for what she wants in her company. What I dislike is the constant referring to her as punk. This book likes to reinforce, oh, she's punk. Do you see this girl in this front cover? Does she look punk to you? That's because she's not, okay? This is coming from someone who would say, I am fringe punk. I'm not fully punk. I don't think I am. But I align with myself with certain punk ideologies. I listen to punk music, and I have been a member of the punk scene for a while now. I know I may not look like it, but trust me when I say I like to go to Green Day concerts, I listen to Good Charlatan. I agree with a lot of punk ideologies, and I think that's just to do with the fact that I am also an artist as well. But when I say this woman is not punk, I mean it with my heart and chest. You know the reason why they say she's punk? It's because she has a punkish look. And I'm like, what? Does she have dyed hair? No. She has dark hair. Naturally dark hair. Okay, that's not punk. She has a nose piercing. Yet again, not inherently punk. Yes, the idea of body mods and facial piercings are very commonly linked to punk scenes, but that does not make it punk. Punk is an ideology, is a movement, not a nose piercing. And she has a back tattoo. Okay, that does not make you punk either, okay? For example, one of my closest childhood friends, she has dark hair, a back tattoo, and loads of piercings. She has more piercings than me. I'm pretty sure if we ever went to the airport together, she would get beat because of the amount of piercings and metal in her ear, okay? She is not punk though. She is not a punk girly, okay? She pulls the face when I put Green Day on, because like, why? Because she does not like that type of music, okay? And she has very similar features, and like, it just annoys me. It's like, they could have wrote a punk character in. She's a business owner of a unique business company. You could have very easily wrote in a punk character here, and it wouldn't have been that hard, because she has, like, remnants taste. Like, a subtle undertaste of maybe she could be possibly punk, but she isn't. There's nothing about her that's punk. Nothing in her fashion sense, the way she acts and contributes to society. None of the way her personality is, or the way she, like, nothing about her is punk, apart from the fact that she has a back tattoo and a nose piercing and her hair happens to be black. And it just bugs me, the amount of times they refer to her as punk, because it's like, no, look, we can be alternative. And it's just like, no, sweetie, you're not being alternative, okay? And it's like one of the main things that really bugged me whilst reading it, alongside the lack of the dog being there. And then Matt's just Matt. Matt's just your typical hockey player that has crippling fear that he's not a good enough partner because he got a divorce because of his career, and that he can't be a good enough parent even though he tries his hardest to be a good parent, and that he actually has a really good moment later on in the books, because like, he finds out that his ex-wife was cheating on him and having like a full-on emotional affair 6 months before the divorce, and he was blaming the divorce completely on himself, because he was like trying to fix their problems, trying to sort stuff out, and he was just like, no, this is all my fault. I'm the reason I've caused my divorce. All my fault. Like, and to the point where he thinks he can't be a good enough partner for Hayley, to the point where she has to say, like, hey, so I kind of found this out. She was cheating on you for 6 months prior and telling you. And like, he's like, she said those dinners were with her grandparents, with her parents, taking the kids to see their grandparents. They weren't. She was meeting up with her high school boyfriend, yeah, for 6 months. And like, he bottles this in as well, and I would have loved for them to include an actual scene where he processes these emotions, because they don't. Literally, you have breakup scene, him find out about the cheating. This is chapter by chapter, and 1 month time skip. Okay, I'm just like, hi, yeah, no, there needs to be a chapter in between where he actually processes this information, and it really bugs me that there wasn't like any processing there. I really feel like they missed a really sweet moment they could to have actual genuine like emotional moment and like a really strong character development moment, but they didn't. They chose to do a 1 month time skip, and then the only truly emotional part we get is him going off at the ex-wife when they're at the hospital, and the ex-wife is immediately going at him instead of asking, hey, how's my child that just got injured? And he's like, I can't do this anymore. I've tried to be civil, I've tried it, and literally goes into her. And I think that is such a good moment, but I feel like it would have been so much more impactful if we actually had a chapter where he goes through the motions of what he's feeling and everything. I feel like it would have been so much more impactful. But like, these are just my honest thoughts and feelings. It was a book. Normally, I would rate this maybe, I don't know, a 3 out of 5. I feel like I'm being a bit generous. Was it a bad book? No. Was it that good? For a light romance that's a quick read? Yeah, kind of does the job. Compared to Elle Kennedy's other works, not her best piece of work, I want to say. I can't say on Sarah Bowen's. No, Sarina Bowen's. I can't really say on hers because I've never read any of her works before. I know she writes hockey romances, so I might check them out to see how it stacks up against her previous works. It may be the case of their writing styles just clashing, and it's like, we both do hockey romances, but actually we're not that compatible as writers, but they have 2 series together. This is like the 4th book they've released together, so I'm quite surprised that it's just doesn't feel as well written as previous things I've read by Elle Kennedy. Or it's just that I've matured as a reader and I'm just not as intrigued by this type of writing anymore. I'm not sure. It just felt very lacking as a book. Don't get me wrong, I did enjoy reading it and it had its beautiful moments. I really enjoyed like the incorporating of the young children in it and the father-daughter relationship that Matt had. I really appreciated that because the children, well, honestly, some of the funniest bits in the book. And that's saying a lot. Like, I don't know. I feel like you would like to read this if you like hockey romances, but you want less hockey in it. And if you want a more, like, mature in the sense of their age romance, because they were both in their 30s, I believe. Smut level? Yeah. Like, I know some people don't like it. This book didn't actually do anything substantial, really, until page 160. I believe, don't hold me to that, but like, I'm still on the fence about how I feel about this book. Let me know if you've read this book and how you felt about it, if you liked it, disliked it, things you found annoying about it, but like, I feel like there are people in this world who would generally enjoy this book. I think people who like Elle Kennedy's writing and just are a fan of her writing or hockey romances will like have a nice read, and like, I don't know, because normally, I've never ran into a problem where it's just like, because either I really dislike a book or I really like a book. And this book is kind of just like, meh. So, I don't know. Let me know what you thought about this book and if you liked it, disliked it. And like, if you have opinions on it or not. Or if you enjoyed this video. Anyway, that's all today I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed the video and I'll see you all next time.